BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
What's happening? We are back. Just flew back in last night from Vegas. And, no fights last week. But this week, this is a great fight night. We got Imavov taking on Caio Borralho. And this is sort of like a title eliminator between this fight and Fluffy Hernandez and Rainer D. Ritter. But if this fight ends in a quick finish, like if Caio Borralho goes out there and finishes Imavov quick, they're going to throw him in there for a title shot for sure. I mean, there's no reason not to. And, this whole card's pretty stacked. I mean, they got some great fights on the card. They even got Hanat Fakhretdinov fighting on, the second fight of the night. That's very strange to me. They should have definitely put him way higher up for sure. Hanat Fakhretdinov he's super legit. Well, let's get straight to it. So we got Imavov taking on Caio Borralho, middleweight title eliminator. Imavov has been active. I like the activity of Imavov. He's been looking real good, and he's coming off probably the biggest win over Israel Adesanya. Definitely the biggest name win. Obviously, Izzy, he's a bit of a losing streak, and he's not the same guy he was maybe a couple of years ago. But that was a big win for Imavov just to go in there and finish a guy like Israel Adesanya. He's beat Brendan Allen. That was a really impressive one, winning Brendan Allen, and he finished Jared Cannonier. The one, that's sort of an issue is he did lose 2 years ago to Sean Strickland, former champ. That one is an issue because if you can't get past Sean Strickland, I mean, what are you going to do when you got to go fight against, Fluffy Hernandez, and you got to fight against these top guys? If you can't get past Sean Strickland, I don't know if you're going to be getting past Khamzat Chimaev or Dricus du Plessis. So that one, maybe Imavov had a bad night that night against Sean Strickland. I don't know. But that one is okay, because that one wasn't too long ago. It was only 2 years ago. It's just Imavov has had so many fights. He's been so active in the last 2 years that it's really hasn't really no one's really talking about that, because he's had 5 fights after the Sean Strickland loss. So 5 fights in 2 years. Yeah, I mean, Sean Strickland is top guy. He's even a former champion, but I just don't feel like Sean Strickland is the best guy in the world. I don't see him beating a Dricus du Plessis. I don't see him beating a Fluffy Hernandez. I don't see him beating a Khamzat Chimaev. So and Caio Borralho, if Caio Borralho, if he were to fight a Sean Strickland, I think I would, probably think Caio would probably be the favorite in that fight. I mean, Caio Borralho is an absolute monster. This guy's on a, 16-fight win streak. So his only loss is in 2015, 10 years ago. He was 1-0. So hear this. So Caio Borralho has one loss 10 years ago. He was 1-0. So he had one pro fight at the time. He fought a guy, João Carvalho, who was 4-0 at the time. So a guy who already had 4 pro fights, 4-0 undefeated, and that was his first pro fight, I believe, first or second pro fight, and you're fighting a guy like that. So after that, which is 10 years, he's been on a roll. The issue is he hasn't been too active. Imavov's been active, man. Imavov has been active. This is going to be tough, man. I have a feeling this fight is going to go over 1.5, 2.5 for sure. I think this fight is probably going to go into the later rounds. I just feel like this one is going to be very evenly matched. Caio Borralho, I would say, has the better jiu-jitsu. Wrestling, it's going to be close because Imavov can wrestle as well. Striking, I might give to Imavov. I think Imavov's probably the better striker to the two. Kyle Borralho, he's got definitely the better jiu-jitsu. The wrestling, that's going to be the game changer. Like, who's going to be able to... Is Kyle Borralho able to take Imavov down like he is these other guys he's fighting? Or is Imavov able to sprawl and brawl, and now you're forced to strike with Imavov? That's a tough one. And it's in France, so you got to favor... the Imavov in that way because it is, fighting in France. But my bet, I would probably go with the over on this one. I don't feel like this one is going to end early. I think this one is going to be a tough fight for both guys. And I really do see it going into the later rounds. Up next, this one is a banger. Benoit Saint-Denis taking on Mauricio Rufy. This guy's insane, Rufy. He's got that Conor McGregor style, and he's accurate. They call him the sniper, fighting out of the Fighting Nerds. So we got Kyle Borralho of the Fighting Nerds, and you got Rufy. And I'm surprised he's only minus 190. I'll be real with you. I think he's going to crush Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit Saint-Denis' only option here is to take Rufy down, and he will go for those takedowns. He'll shoot and keep shooting. He puts a pace on guys, does Benoit, but he gets hit, man. He's a guy... He'll take one to get one. He will stand in the pocket and exchange, and that's an issue with a guy like Mauricio Rufy. And Mauricio Rufy can grapple as well, so don't be surprised if you see Mauricio Rufy stuffing those takedowns and then, knocking out Benoit Saint-Denis. And Benoit Saint-Denis, usually his best round is that first round. He comes out strong. Sometimes he can, blow the gas tank a little in the first. But, I'm not impressed that he just lost to the Moicano. Like, Moicano smashed Benoit Saint-Denis. I know it was his doctor stoppage, but he was getting smashed on the ground by Moicano. And I just think Mauricio Rufy is different level. I think he's much better than Renato Moicano. I think if Rufy goes in there and finishes Benoit Saint-Denis, you're talking top 5 guy now. Now you got to give him Justin Gaethje or something like this. I'm going with Mauricio Rufy. I think he's going to absolutely crush Benoit Saint-Denis. The question is he going to finish Benoit Saint-Denis? I think he probably will. But Benoit Saint-Denis is tough. But the way he fights, he's kill or be killed. So he likes to put a pace on guys. So his fighting style, it's either he's getting finished or he's finishing. Mauricio Rufy, he's very technical, and the thing is, if you go and put the pressure on a guy like Rufy, you might get knocked out, and that might just play right into Rufy's hands. A guy like Benoit Saint-Denis. The issue is here for Rufy is the takedowns. Is Benoit Saint-Denis able to take Rufy down, because he will shoot for those takedowns? If you see here, takedown average 4. So that's a very high takedown average. He's shooting a lot, and he can get those takedowns as well. He's pretty accurate. 40% on takedown accuracy. That's pretty high. So, I mean, that's going to be Rufy's issue, is the grappling. But he's training with those Fighting Nerds, and I'm sure they're doing a lot of grappling. So I got to go with Rufy here. But yeah, if Rufy does lose, it's not because he got outstruck. I think it's going to be because he's got outgrappled. So I'm still going to go with Rufy, though, even though the grappling issue could be there. Paul Craig taking on Modestas Bukauskas. This guy, Paul Craig, the Bear Jew, man, he has one of the best guards in MMA. Like, he's submitted some big names, man. Like, submitted Jamal Hill, submitted the current champ Magomed Ankalaev with like 2 seconds left on the clock. He's got some really big submitted Nikita Krylov, same thing, triangle off his back. But then he hasn't really been going to his bread and butter, which is his guard. He's been trying to stand up and strike with guys. It just hasn't been looking good. He's been on a huge losing streak, lost 3 or 4 in a row, lost to Bo Nickel, lost to Kyle Borralho, lost to Brendan Allen, had a no contest with Adolfo Bellato. I mean, Paul Craig is, I think if you lose this one, I know a lot of people like him because of that submission threat, but yeah, man, Modestas Bukauskas is looking good, man. He's on a 3-fight win streak. His only loss, and in his last, I don't know, let's say 6-7 fights, has only been to Vitor Petrino, who was undefeated at the time. And other than that, Modestas Bukauskas is looking real good. Is he able to stay away from the grappling and the guard of Paul Craig? I mean, I think he probably should. Hopefully he's training that, because that seems to be only Paul Craig's real threat. He doesn't seem to be a threat on the feet. So he's only really a threat on the ground. And his wrestling isn't that good. So his ability to actually take people down isn't very good. It's more his guard is very good. So I think if Modestas Bukauskas can stay away from the guard of Paul Craig, he should be able to get this easy victory. And clearly he's a huge favorite, minus 370 as well. He should be. Mason Jones taking on Borralho. I don't even know how to pronounce that. So the Dragon, Mason Jones, he's been on a pretty good roll here. 5-fight winning streak. He's had one fight in the UFC after he got kicked out. So he was in the UFC. I guess they released him after his loss to Ludovic Klein. Went to Cage Warriors, racked up 4 or 5 wins in a row. Then his last fight, he fought Jeremy Stevens. I think they got Jeremy Stevens for one fight. And yeah, he dominated Jeremy Stevens. And now he's going to be fighting his second fight from his new stint in the UFC, his second stint in the UFC. So this one's interesting. I'm going to go with Mason Jones on this one. I think even odds. I'm going to go with Mason Jones. I just think he might get this one done. Axel Sola taking on Reese McKee. Haven't really seen too much of this Axel Sola guy. He's never fought in the UFC. He's doing pretty good in Aries FC. Doesn't really have that UFC experience, so this one is going to be tough to tell. Reese McKee, Skeletor, he's coming off a big win over Frunza. Had even a great performance with Chidi Njokwani. Lost a split decision, but Chidi's tough. I'll probably lean towards Reese McKee on this one because of the experience, but I don't really know because I'm not a fan of Reese McKee, so I don't know if I'll be betting on that, but I just haven't seen too much of this Axel guy. And Patricio Pitbull is back, and he's a huge underdog, taking on Lucene Gita. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Black Panther. Born in Guinea, fighting out of Belgium, 27 years old. He's been killing it on the regional scene. I think he's the champ at Octagon. And, he's only had one loss, which was a foot injury. One loss. So he's pretty much, other than that foot injury, he's been just destroying everybody. The issue is who is he beating, right? Like, he's not fighting the same level of a competition as a Patricio Pitbull. So, yeah, you're undefeated and you're killing it at Octagon Championships, but this is the UFC now. And you're fighting one of the Pitbull bros. And I know he's a little older, but he's coming off a big win over Dan Ige. I mean, this is a tough one to bet because I'm sort of leaning towards Pitbull here because I like the way he looked against Dan Ige. His jiu-jitsu looked good. His takedowns, his wrestling looked good. His striking looked good. And Lucene, I know he's legit and he's a savage and he's young and everything, but he just doesn't have that experience. And, you're fighting a guy like Pitbull. Pitbull might use that experience against you. He's got a lot of fights, this Pitbull, man. He's got 45 pro fights compared to 17. I know the age difference, but that's a lot of experience, man. So I'm sort of leaning towards Pitbull here as I might go with the underdog on this one. I'm going to go with Pitbull. William Gomez taking on Robert. I'll go with Gomez here. I think he should be able to get that one done. We got Omar Sy taking on Brenson Ribeiro. Omar Sy, this guy's been looking real good until his last fight. I mean, he got a win over Tuco Tokos, right? Beat Dabun Jung, his second UFC fight, and then his last fight he took on Alonzo Menefield. And Menefield, he's been, up and down, a bit of a roller coaster. Wasn't too impressed with that performance. Now he's taking on Brenson Ribeiro. Brenson Ribeiro here, honestly, for the odds, he's a live dog. I'll be real with you. Umar Sy, if he can't beat a guy like Alonzo Menefield, and now Brenson Ribeiro, I'm surprised he's minus 500. I get it. There's a lot of hype behind the guy, but Brenson Ribeiro he's a live dog, man. And he's got some pretty big wins. I mean, he's beat Dihard Nugrze, beat Kyle Machado. He's pretty decent, man. So the fact that he is plus 350, that's strange. I think the odds should be a little closer than that. So, yeah, I think he's a live dog. Is he going to win for sure? We don't know. But for the odds, it's actually not a bad bet. Marcin Tybura taking on Ante Delija here. Tybura, this guy, he's fought everybody, man. At heavyweight, he's been in there with Tom Aspinall and Ben Rothwell, Sergey Spivak. He's been in there with Verdum and Arlovsky, Derek Lewis. He's fought everybody, and this is actually a rematch from, I believe they fought in M1 Global. Was it M1? Where is it? Yes, it was M1 Challenge. So this is a rematch from years in the making. These guys fought 10 years ago, and Ante Delija here, he got a leg injury, and so it wasn't really a fight. It was more of an injury. Tybura ended up getting the win, and now they're facing again. The issue is here, Tybura's got a lot more experience because that UFC experience is different, man. But the one impressive performance for me is the win over Renan Ferreira. So the fact that he beat Renan Ferreira, that was pretty impressive. Renan Ferreira has been an absolute savage. He's a monster for heavyweight. He's like 6'8", 6'9". I mean, he's the guy who just fought Ngannou, and Ngannou ground and pounded him. So that's a really impressive win, the fact that Delija was able to beat a guy like Renan Ferreira. This is a tough one. I'm sort of leaning towards Delija there, and I'll go with him there. I think just a little younger too, like 35. Marcin's 40. Everything stacks up pretty close, like similar height, similar reach, similar weight. So I'm going to go with the Croatian on that one. Next one. Yes, Brad Tavares, he's back. Brad Tavares, he's coming off a decent win over Gerald Meerschaert. Before that, he lost to Junyoung Park and Gregory Rodriguez. So he's 2-2 in his last 4, but the only 2 wins over Chris Weidman and Gerald Meerschaert. That's the issue. So the other guy, though, he hasn't even had he's had one fight in the UFC, lost that against Pretoria, and now he's got his second fight in the UFC. Hopefully he can get a win, but I'm leaning towards Brad Tavares. Just that UFC experience is different. Yeah, you're looking good at Octagon and all these smaller organizations, Spartan Fight League and whatever it is. This is different level once you're in the UFC. So I'm going to go with Brad Tavares, still doing the damn thing. This one is really pissing me off, by the way. Andreas Gustafsson taking on Henat Fakhretdinov. These guys are the second fight on the prelims, and I literally do not know why. Because Henat Fakhretdinov is 23-1-1. That is insane. I mean, 23-1-1. I believe it might be 24-2 now. If I believe that they might have this incorrect. Either way, the guy's been on a huge win streak. 11 win streak or something crazy. He beat Dalby, split decision, beat Carlos Leal, beat Kevin Lee, beat Brian Battle. the guy's killing it. And now I know Andreas Gustafsson is legit, and they're really thinking he's the real deal as well, because the fact that he's even odds with a guy like Hanat Fakhretdinov, that tells you how high level they think of Andreas Gustafsson. And, he looked really good on the Contender Series. That Gustafsson comes into the UFC, beat Chaos Williams, which is a big win. But Chaos is very one-dimensional. He's just a very good striker. His ground game's not that good. So he's got that hole there. But Hanat Fakhretdinov, on the other hand, he's very well-rounded. He can grapple real well, and he's a good striker as well. So he's really well-rounded. I got to go with Hanat Fakhretdinov on this one. I think the experience, man, he's legit. I'm going to go with the Russian on this one. Hanat Fakhretdinov, very, very strange why they're so early on the prelims when you got guys like Reese McKee and Mason Jones, Modestas Bukauskas, Paul Craig. Like, Paul Craig's got 4 losses in a row. He's 17-9, and he's on the main card. But you got Hanat Fakhretdinov, who's 23-1 or whatever it is, crazy record, and he's on a huge win streak, and he's fighting on the prelims. That's just crazy to me. And he's got some big wins, man. Beat Brian Battle, beat Kevin Lee, beat some big names. So beat Dalby. Yeah, man. That's really strange to me that he's fighting there, but it is what it is. If you guys need a place to bet, BetUS, promo code Iceman. You already know. Let's make that money. Out.